And there it is, the full-time whistle blows, and Drogheda United have won by 2-1 at Tallaght Stadium. Freddie Draper and Dale Rooney, the scorers for Drogheda. Rory Gaffney did pull one back for Shamrock Rovers on 79 minutes, and you felt maybe the Hoops might be able to rescue something from it. But a crowd of over 5,000 have seen Drogheda come and end a 7-match run without a win. What a bonus 3 points this is for Drogheda United.
An amazing night for Drogheda United, who won 2-1 away to Shamrock Rovers. This is the extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast. We'll hear more from that game shortly. We'll also get the analysis of Ciaran Killduff on Dundalk's 2-2 draw with Bohemians at Oriel Park. Bohs coming from 2-0 down at half-time in that game. Neil Horgan will talk to us about Cork City's 1-0 win against Sligo Rovers. Cork had lost 6 on the bounce on the way into that game, so they probably weren't fancied to get a result, but they did, and it's a big one as well. Shelbourne losing 1-0 to St. Pat's. Keith Treacy will tell us all about that. We'll also hear from Sam Curtis. Derry City, they went top with a 4-1 victory against UCD. In the First Division, Finn Harps losing 4-0 at home to Waterford. Treaty United losing 3-0 at home to Galway. Kerry FC 0, Bray 2, a final score at Mount Hawk Park. Cove Ramblers drawing 2-2 with Athlone, and Wexford losing 3-0 to Longford Town. They were at home for that game. Conan Byrne said it on Twitter last night that the First Division is becoming boring, and in a promotion race sense it kind of is, because it already looks like Galway have it locked off. Right, let's get to the Premier Division. We have to start at Tallaght Stadium. Drogheda beating Shamrock Rovers by 2-1. Kevin Doherty, the Drogs boss, to come. But first, extratime.com's Macdara Ferris was there, and afterwards sent us this voice note.
Drogheda United put an end to their 7-game winless streak by inflicting Shamrock Rovers' first defeat in 14 matches. The 2-1 victory for the Boynesiders also knocked the Hoops off the top of the table after Derry City's 4-1 win in UCD. It wasn't quite a smash and grab piece of action by Kevin Doherty's men, but they were certainly second best in the first half, and Shamrock Rovers really should have been leading. The succession of Jack Byrne corners as per usual. Colin McCabe pulled off a couple of great saves. There were 2 cleared off the line, but just about a minute before the break, Freddie Draper, who was excellent on the evening leading the line for the Boynesiders, he had loads to do when he ran onto a clearance from just the edge of his box from Conor Keeley. He held off Sean Hoare, cut inside him, and using Pico Lopez kind of as a shield, he wrapped his foot around the ball and into the corner of the net by beyond the despairing dive of Leon Poles. You know, Rovers started the second half strongly again, but they couldn't find an equaliser, and then it was a sweeping move from Drogheda for the second goal. I think it was 6 or 7 passes that they had. Moved the ball from back to front, and Dale Rooney managed to get on the end of a really great cross by Luke Heaney. He curled the ball into the box. Rooney took a touch and he rifled the ball by Leon Poles. The Hoops had withdrawn Sean Hoare at that stage. They'd deployed Gary O'Neill back into the defence where he'd played earlier on the season when the Hoops had lots of suspensions. But it could have been 3-0. There was a chip shot that just drifted by Leon Poles' frame of the goal from Rooney, which would have made it 3-0 after 73 minutes. But 11 minutes from time, Rory Gaffney did pull a goal back. Richie Tell's shot was blocked, and Gaffney was in the right place just to bundle home his fifth of the season. They had chances laid on. Pico Lopez had a really good header that he powered home. Speaking to Stephen Bradley after the game, he was very disappointed with his team's defending for the goals. They had said that Freddie Draper was going to be the target man, but they didn't seem to be able to deal with it, and he wasn't very happy with the headers. There was a succession of headers from those set pieces that went wide, but it meant it was a disappointing night for Stephen Bradley, who was in charge of Shamrock Rovers for the 300th game in all competitions, and their run of 6 wins in a row comes to an end. It's only their second defeat of the season. That was 15 matches ago here at Tallaght Stadium when Derry City win, but and it means that their short stint at the top of the table, which was just a week long, comes to an end for Drogheda United. Really important win. As I said, they hadn't won in 7 matches, even though they played quite well. Kevin Doherty was really pleased with the performance of his team. He said they played to his game plan, defending deeply, looking to get the ball wide on the break and try and exploit Shamrock Rovers. And the win It doesn't move them any clearer of Cork City, who also won tonight, but it does move them 2 points nearer to 7th place Sligo Rovers. And it was a reward Doherty felt for the good performances the teams have put in over the last few weeks, but they haven't been rewarded with any wins. But they got the win here at Tallaght Stadium, and they've become a bit of a bogey side against Shamrock Rovers. In the last 5 league fixtures, Rovers have failed to win. Drogheda have 2 wins and 3 draws. So definitely the Boyne-siders, the visiting fans here who came down the M1 to Tallaght Stadium, were definitely the happier on the night on Friday night here at Tallaght Stadium.
Extratime.com's Macdara Ferris. Let's hear from Drogheda United manager Kevin Doherty after the game. I got on to him. I said, you know what, I've spoken to you over the last couple of weeks after games, and you've always been disappointed because your team has lost even though they've played well and put in a shift. That was not the case last night. They played well, they put in a shift, but they actually got something. Afterwards, I asked Kevin to send us this voice note.
How are you, Shane? Yeah, very happy, obviously. Brilliant performance, different type of performance. I think the difference this week was we were clinical and we defended really, really well. Obviously, we've been playing excellently, as I've consistently said, but haven't been getting the results over the last couple of weeks. No, it was an excellent performance, and it's a great 3 points. Really, really happy. Obviously, proud of the lads. They were absolutely brilliant. Carried out the game plan to an absolute T, which they do every week. It doesn't always work, obviously, but tonight it did. So yeah, very happy. Thanks, Oisin.
This is the Extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast. That's Kevin Doherty, the Drogheda United manager. Still to come, we'll be hearing from Ciaran Killduff on Dundalk's 2-2 draw with Bohs. Both managers also speaking to us after that game. And we'll get the thoughts of Neil Horgan on Cork City's 1-0 victory at home to Sligo Rovers. First up though, let's go to Tallaght Park, where St. Pat's overcame Shells by 1-0. Keith Treacy, who was part of the Virgin Media 2 commentary team for that game to come. But first, Sam Curtis, the goal scorer. This is amazing, isn't it? He's only 17. I know you're sick of hearing that fact, but you have to remind yourself, because what he's doing is just so impressive. Pretty much immediately after the game, he spoke to the St. Patrick's Athletic social media channels at the interview conducted by Jamie Moore.
Sam Curtis, winner in a Dublin derby, how does that feel? Over the moon. I think I've played a few games now and I thought I'd have 1 or 2 goals, but thankfully it came today and no better game to get in as well. I'm absolutely delighted. Talk us through the goal. I know you've worked very hard on set pieces. Yeah, well, since I came into the team last year, the 19s coach Sean O'Connor said he's aggressive, go and get him the goal, and it hasn't happened up until now, but I'm over the moon. I've got the goal and we've got the 3 points, which is the most important thing. How did it feel scoring and celebrating in front of those fans? Unbelievable. I had a celebration plan, but it all goes out the window when them fans are there. It's just an unbelievable moment, one I'll treasure forever. The buzz is insane here at the moment. Yeah, unbelievable. The fans home and away this year have been absolutely outstanding. When we lose, when we win, they stick by us, and I'm just delighted, and can't thank them enough. And a clean sheet at the other end as well to secure the points. A really hard working performance. Yeah, 100%, and I think it's a credit to the whole team, not just the defenders. I think we set up really well. We all ran ourselves into the ground. As you can see, the fans shouting Dino's name, make some unbelievable saves. What a signing he was, and it's great. The 3 points as well as the clean sheet, you couldn't ask for a better night. Well done, Sam. Thanks, Jay. Thank you.
Sam Curtis speaking to Jamie Moore after St. Pat's 1-0 victory away to Shelbourne. Let's hear now from former Ireland international Keith Treacy, who was watching that game and afterwards sent us this voice note.
Hello, Oisin. Yeah, the first half was largely forgettable. Not an awful lot of goal mouth action. The only real goal mouth action to speak of was a Ben McCormick strike from about 20 to 25 yards out. Great strike, hit the crossbar and the upright. Really good strike. But that was all we really got to shout about in the first half. Shelbourne not producing much goal mouth action. It was more of a midfield battle. Evan Caffrey, Mark Coyle, Jonathan Lunny up against Chris Forrester, Jamie Lennon and Adam Murphy. I felt like Pats won the midfield battle, but without being totally dominant at the same time. Either team very capable of going and winning the game. When the second half kicked off, it was Pats were in the ascendancy, they were on top, and Shelbourne just fell a little bit flat. I heard Damien Duff say after the game that they were a little bit flat. I think that's quite true. I think Jack Moylan was isolated at times. Every ball up to him was a fighting ball. He didn't get any real decent service. And then in the 56th minute, I always thought that this game, with the teams being so well matched, it would come down to a set piece, and it proved that way. The 56th minute, Sam Curtis ghosted in, too easy from a Shelbourne point of view. Nobody getting close to him, nobody marking him, and he doesn't even have to jump or break into a sprint to actually go and win the ball. It's far, far too easy, but these games are generally decided on close margins, and Pats have come out the right side of it. I think John Daly will be delighted. His third win as caretaker boss, and a decent performance from St. Pat's, a decent away performance, but Shelbourne, I think, a little bit flat on the night. Didn't really show the real Shelbourne. Defended well at times, but in an attacking sense, didn't really show us much. And had it been a draw, I don't think there'd be too many complaints, but a great win for Pats, able to nick it in the end.
This is the ExtraTime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast, and that was Keith Treacy, who watched St. Pat's overcome Shelbourne by 1-0 at Tallaght Park. Lots more reaction to that game on the Virgin Media Sport social media channels. They had the game live last night, and by all accounts, I wasn't at it, obviously. I didn't see it because I was at Oriel Park. They did a great job. Let's hear from Oriel Park. Dundalk 2, Bohs 2. Afterwards, I spoke to former Dundalk forward Ciaran Killduff, and he gave us his analysis of the match. A little bit later on, by the way, we'll hear from Declan, Devine and Stevie O'Donnell. But first, let's get the thoughts of Ciaran Killduff. This is the ExtraTime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast, and we're in Oriel Park, where Dundalk have drawn with Bohemians 2-2 the final score. I had to take a second to pause there, former Dundalk striker Ciaran Killduff, because I almost said Dundalk lost. Does feel kind of like a loss, doesn't it? Before we get to you, let's go through some of the detail of the game. Dundalk 2-0 up to the break. Horgan with a wonderful header, followed by Mally's strike, which came off the crossbar, bounced up, hit Tallaght on the back and went in. So I think technically speaking, it's an own goal. Mally will argue that it's his. Dundalk fans will want him to have the credit for it, but I'm not sure the credit will entirely go to him. In the second half, Bohs made a bit of a fight back. They scored from 2 set pieces essentially, and I have to say, because I was at the game and haven't seen the replays, I'm not sure who scored those goals. And Ciaran, I'm not so sure you are either, and you actually saw the goals on replay.
Yeah, it's hard to know. It was 2 great deliveries into the box. I think the first one looked like Novak got his head on it and obviously sparked the comeback for Bohs, and the second one looked like it went in direct from an alley-oop free kick, but again, it gone through so many bodies. Anyone could claim it. I nearly claimed it myself up there in the gantry. So yeah, look, it was, as you said yourself, it nearly feels like a defeat for Dundalk. You could see the body language at the end of the game. Bohs were nearly celebrating in front of their crowd that they'd known they'd put on a spirited second half performance, whereas Dundalk kind of heads down, dejected, walking into the dressing room. So yeah, there was a bit of a sting in the tail for Dundalk, but a great night's entertainment. And in fairness, a game of 2 halves. Dundalk much the better team in the first half, probably deservedly going in 2-0. Bohs just look a little bit disjointed all over the place, but second half they scrapped and they fought, and physically they looked like, you know, from long throw-ins and corners and free kicks, they were putting balls and wave after wave of attack into the box. And yeah, look at it, probably as I said, a tale of 2 halves, and both teams would probably look at it, probably a fair result and reflection of the game. I don't think Dundalk were as good or as dominant in the second half as they were in the first.
Anyone who joined you and Adrian Taff on LOI TV or LMFM, they were entertained by this game, I'm sure. Let's break it down into the 2 halves. A game of 2 halves, literally and metaphorically. Dundalk 2-0 up at the break. What did they do well in the first half that perhaps they didn't do in the second half? And I appreciate, as part of that, you have to take Bohs into consideration and what they didn't do in the first half and what they did do in the second.
Yeah, I'd be probably more going with your second point there about Bohs. I think Bohs were very poor in the first half. I think maybe certain players, I think Buckley at right back, you know, just wasn't natural, do you know what I mean? And then a couple of tweaks at half time, but you're always going to get a reaction as well, and I'm not going to be critical of Dundalk here at all, but they knew that Bohs were going to come out with a reaction in the second half, and in fairness they weathered it for 25-30 minutes nearly, but as soon as it went 2-1, I think everyone felt, well, I know I felt it up there going, there's going to be more chances here from Bohs. I think the long throw in, as I said, the free kicks and the corners, they looked like they were nearly getting on the end of things, and there was a couple of balls bobbling around the box. There was a half-hearted kind of penalty appeal at one stage as well that could have went in. So listen, Bohs just grew into the game, I think is what happened in the second half, and I think leading 2-0, no matter what way you put it, and knowing Stevie O'Donnell and the expectations from Dundalk and their supporters being 2-0 up, they wanted to win the game and felt they should have, but wasn't to be. And credit to Bohs, a spirited second half performance has earned them a point.
Did we see the difference between the 2 teams tonight, in a sense that Bohs were able to make their team nearly stronger with their subs, whereas with Dundalk they're still, I won't say running on empty, but it's a very thin squad, isn't it?
Yeah, that was something me and Adrian identified when we saw the team sheets. It was like, I think Bohs had made 4 changes and the 4 players on the bench you knew could come on and make the difference. And I think Afolabi coming on and real handful probably changed the game for them.
They were still 2-0 down until he came in, and he won the corner that they scored their first goal from.
And he did. His first thing was that run into the channel where he's done well. And a couple of times there was 1 or 2 late tackles there, just blocked it, to stopping him probably even winning the game. He was a right handful. But again, that was what they had on the bench. And then you probably just look for, it's no disrespect of what Dundalk have on the bench, but you probably look to who Dundalk were missing, your Robbie Bensons, etc., Sloggett, Andy Boyle, and that experience maybe to come on and maybe see that game out for them they didn't have. So listen, Dundalk and Steve O'Donnell aren't going to be licking any wounds about it. They probably felt like and trusted what they had there to get that over the line, and they probably should have, and another night would have. But look, Bohs were the better team in the second half. I don't think anyone here at the game could deny that, and they got themselves a point in the end, which they'll be delighted with.
Try and explain to me the psychology of being 2-0 up and then the opposition scores, and the nerves and jitters that creates amongst the defending team. In tonight's case, that was Dundalk.
Yeah, well, look, I watched Dundalk and Cork here last week, and Dundalk got a goal, and straight away at 1-1 in that game, there's going to be more chances. Once that first one's hit the back of the net, you knew, okay, it's going to be an onslaught here. I think Dundalk were kind of holding on. And you just felt as soon as the ball hit the back of the net to make it 2-1, there was going to be another couple of chances for Bohs, and one of them just, as we said, either went directly in or took a marginal touch off someone. But in fairness, they had, I don't know how many free kicks, corners and throw-ins they had in that second half, but in comparison to their performance in the first half, no, you can't really account from it on the Dundalk point of view. I don't think Dundalk did that much different. I just think Bohs improved an awful lot second half.
Talk to me about coming back to this place. You had great days here. Is it something you always enjoy?
Yeah, I haven't been back that often. I'm living in Kildare, so I've watched a bit of Dundalk, all right, but usually when they're playing in Dublin or closer to home, I go and watch them. But no, I was delighted to be back tonight, and it's great to see some old faces. And it's funny now, and you're meeting some ex-teammates who are now managing the team and coaching positions and that. And yeah, look, I had a great time here, and I loved it here. And I've never missed football, and I actually only said it to Adrian up there a half time ago. God, it's just when you're watching a game from that vantage point, you miss playing, and this was probably one of the first nights in a long time, I'll admit that. You'd miss being part of that, and it was a great atmosphere for the last, I thought, 10 or 15 minutes, and to be honest, even at 2-2, I thought someone might nick it, and I just remember flashing back to when I was playing, how great it was in those moments if you could be the hero or trying to be the hero, or sometimes I was coming on even in those periods to try and win the game. So no, look at it. I'm delighted to have helped out tonight in the commentary, but I really enjoyed being back. And as I said, I had a good chat with Stevie and Gareth and that before the game, and a good trip down memory lane for us as well. So no, I really enjoyed being back, and it's I'd be a secret Dundalk fan as well. As I've had so many former clubs. I don't support them all, but Dundalk would be one I'd always be rooting for as well. But it was a really great game tonight. Bohs were excellent, as I said, in the second half too. So I really enjoyed my night. And
just before I let you go, did you get a touch of nostalgia, even though it wasn't that long ago, during the week when you watched Alkmaar and West Ham?
Yeah, I did. A few people text me, all right, going, we nearly had similar scenes at the end when you scored to the ones that went on there last night. But no, I always get a few texts about Alkmaar and Weghorst for Man United as well, because he was the man marking me, and he's now playing for Man United, and I'm doing commentary in Oriel. So a bit of a contrast of things there. But no, it was. As I said, some of my greatest moments of football came with Dundalk Football Club, and to be back tonight, even just in the commentary role, but even catching up with some of the players that I would have played with back then, it was a great feeling, and and nothing but good things to say about the club. I
appreciate that individual moments and seasons and good periods and all that, they're different feelings. That goal against Alkmaar, was that your best individual moment, do you feel, in football? Was that your favourite moment? Yeah, that was a big goal, but I remember at the moment that happened, it was my biggest probably moment. But then 2 weeks later, I scored the winner against Tel Aviv in Tallaght, and you went from drawing a game in Alkmaar to scoring the winner in Tel Aviv against Tel Aviv in Tallaght in front of our fans in a packed out, sold out stadium. So two great moments that came quite close. I'd say that was the best fortnight of my career. I can't pick which goal was the best. I was lucky enough to score two big ones, but look, at those European nights were huge and great moments for me, and sometimes I value them a lot more than even some of the medals I won, because those moments are individual, and they're just my moments that I look back on so fondly. And as I said, they came for Dundalk, and I think I'm remembered here because of them, and likewise. I'm not sure if I've ever told you this story, and I will let you go now because I appreciate you staying on. But I was watching the Alkmaar game in the press tent in Rio at the Paralympics. And keep in mind, by the way, I'm a Cork City fan. And this was 2016. Cork City, Dundalk, the rivalry. But I was going for you because I felt it was very good for the League of Ireland, and Stephen Kenny was in charge. And still am a big Stephen Kenny fan. When you scored, I jumped up and punched the air, and a load of Italian journalists were looking, and one of the other Irish guys just said, Killduff just scored, as if that explained everything. You went worldwide that night.
Yeah, makes sense now. I think I could have gotten team of the week that week with Doherty up front, so I'm sure we both framed that print out.
Who? Never heard of him.
Yeah, no, me neither. No, but look, it was just great times, and it was one of those times where we kind of captured the imagination of the whole Irish extended public, and it was one of those great moments. But yeah, look, that was a great campaign, and it just probably took me back tonight. As I said, I haven't been up here as much as I probably should have, and I haven't come to many games in Oriel, but when you're here and you realise what you were part of back then, and you see what can happen again in the future here. I was even chatting to Garth before the game about the Europe this year, which is something to look forward to. And that always just captures the imagination for a team and a club and the player. So hopefully some of these players will have great moments as well in the coming years.
Ciaran Killduff, thank you for joining us here at Oriel Park on the extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast.
Appreciate it, Oisin.
This is the extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast, and I'm joined in Oriel Park by Stephen O'Donnell, the Dundalk manager. A 2-2 draw. You were 2-0 up, so does it feel more like a defeat than a draw?
It's disappointing. You go into the last 15-20 minutes of the game, you're 2 up, you want to be winning the game, so from that point of view it is disappointing, the goals we gave up. But positives are, tough first half, we were excellent, dominated the game and probably should have been more ahead.
Do you hope the team learns from that? Because I've heard you say it a few times now to various interviewees or interviewers, I should say, that you just need to defend set pieces better.
Well, tonight we did. In general, set pieces against, we've been quite good, but tonight we were poor. Like, we'd give up, we'd be disappointed with the way we give up the goals. I don't think anyone towered above any of us and powered the header in, so that's a disappointing thing. But we just need to speed up the process and just game management better.
You've a lot of injuries. What's the situation? Who's going to be back soon? Or
yeah,
do you know?
Hopefully Louis Annesley, Greg Sloggett and Andy Boyle aren't too far away. So Ray and Tulloch as well will be back too. So we're looking forward to welcoming them back.
Cheers, Steve.
Cheers.
This is the extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast, and I'm joined by Bohemians manager Declan Devine. Declan, is that a draw that kind of feels like a win given the position you were in the match?
It's a bit of both, to be honest. Obviously at half-time 2-0 down, not having played anywhere near our strengths. I felt that, it was going to be a long way back for us. But then when we did get back, I felt that we had opportunities in the second half earlier than what we did score. But as a manager, you want your players to go after everything, and you want them to expand that energy and never give up. And that's what we done in the second half. Like, we're at Oriel Park. We're not on a play park here. We're on a very difficult venue with a team that has done well here. So for us to come back from 2-0 down, it's really pleasing, but we have to go back to the drawing board and see why we were 2-0 down, and I take responsibility for that because we didn't start the game anywhere near the level we should have started the game, and it's my team going to the pitch, and if we haven't started like that, I have to look at myself.
Well, you have to take the blame, but you also have to take the credit because you did make switches at half-time. Talk me through what you wanted out of those switches, and I suppose, look, it's fair to say you got what you wanted because you drew the match, you pulled back 2 goals.
I don't think it was down to personnel. It was more about intensity. It was more about energy. It was more about being brave and going down with a fight. I didn't think we had any fight in the first half. I thought we accepted being dominated in the first half, and that's not the way we want to be. So it was more about, our inspirational captain goes on the middle of the park and he grabs the game by the scruff, and that's what we needed. It wasn't about changes. It was about getting players that was going to grab a game by the scruff of the neck and say, right, let's have a go here. And that's what we did. We were depleted with injuries. I couldn't get Dylan Connolly on. We couldn't get John Sullivan on. I could only get Falabi on for 10 or 15 minutes, and he had a major role in the game when he came on. So testimony to the players, they showed tremendous character, but we have to learn to make sure that we're not 2-0 down again.
Is it a big result? Because had you lost tonight, it would have been 3 defeats in a row.
Yeah, it's a massive result. It's so important that, first of all, you don't lose 2 in this one, and that happened. Circumstances beyond our control to a certain extent, but with 2-0 down tonight, players showed real appetite and hunger to get back, and that's testimony to them because it means a lot to them as well. They don't want to be losing games. They put so much on a daily basis, so it's testimony to the players that they grabbed the game by the scruff, and to be honest, I think Chris Twardick had a couple of half chances to maybe won it, but look, we'll take a point and we'll get down the road.
And finally, it's something I've noticed that in the last couple of weeks, it's probably been happening since the start of the season, that connection between the team and the fans is back.
It's been brilliant. Look, it's been brilliant. I just keep asking the fans to get behind us, especially in difficult moments, and they have done. And even when we got the first goal tonight, the crowd were, they were so passionate about going after the second, and fantastic. They're fantastic. We've been very fortunate this year. They've sold out every ticket, every away allocation, every home allocation, and we need that between now and the end of the season, because look, we're only together 4.5, 5 months. It's a brand new bunch of players, and we need togetherness and unity right throughout the club.
This is the ExtraTime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast, and that is all the reaction from Oriel Park, where Dundalk drew 2-2 with Bohemians. Let's go to Turner's Cross. Cork City overcoming Sligo Rovers by 1-0. Neil Horgan, formerly of Cork City, watched this one for us. And for once, he had reasons to be cheerful. I was saying to him yesterday before the game that his voice notes were beginning to sound a bit like an Adele album. But similar kind of vibe, wasn't it? But finally, he's something to be happy about. Let's hear from Neil Horgan, who watched Cork City beat Sligo Rovers by 1-0, and afterwards sent us this voice note.
Rory Keating's 15th-minute strike divided the teams at Cork City. City coming out on top over Sligo Rovers in an evenly matched encounter. From the start, City were well in this game. Sligo will be troubled by their lack of any chances at all in the first half created by them. Max Mata being a big loss for them in the night. Unusual that City missing 3 of their probably main centre-backs in Ciaran Coleman, Ali Gilchrist and Josh Honohan put in probably their best defensive performance of the year. Sligo only threatened very late on in the second half, but a last-ditch tackle by Kevin Kostovic, the full-back who was playing in as a centre-back, denied them in front of 3,000, just over 3,000 fans. City had the usual sending off. It seems to be a regular thing at the moment. Late on, Matt Healy picking up a second yellow card, but earned out a 1-0 win, which they probably deserved in the end. Richie Holland and Liam Buckley, who were on the sideline for Cork City, will be very happy with the defensive performance. They would have welcomed back Gordon Walker at right full back, or right wing back, I suppose, on the night. City playing a 5-3-2 with Oluwabi and Keating. Both of them did very well tonight, and perhaps that's the way forward for Cork City, that those two up front. Sligo didn't do much throughout the game until the very last few minutes. To be fair, Fabrice Hartman, who came on as a sub for them on the right wing, was full of energy and had some excellent moments for Sligo in the second half, but they didn't manage to break through. City looked like scoring as Sligo pushed forward. Oluwabi had a few chances where his speed got him through one-on-one with the keeper, but it didn't work out for him. But he was a constant threat up front along with Keating. Keating probably man of the match. Really led from up top for Cork City, and has been an excellent player for Cork City this year in what has been a difficult year. He's continuing his form. The goal that he got, which divided the sides, was an excellent goal. Gordon Walker, who was back in, Walker's had some injuries concerns over the past few years. The City faithful were delighted to see him back in at right back. He offered some great crosses from the right wing, right wing back position, some deep crosses into the box, which City were unlucky not to capitalise on. But the goal when it came was a ball from Walker into O'Brien Whitmarsh, the 18-year-old who had a very good game as well. Played a fabulous. He swerved. He turned actually on the ball and pivoted onto his left foot and played a pinpoint ball through to Keating, who took one or two touches past Sligo forward defenders before a lovely strike into the left side of the bottom left of the Sligo net after 15 minutes, and it was probably the best chance of the match. Keating, just before half time, after great work from Oluwabi, who went on a kind of solo run down the wing, Cork City had a number of corners, and Keating hit the crossbar from a deflected header But other than that, they were the main chances in the match. Cork City would be delighted with a win, but more importantly with a clean sheet, I think. Well, a clean sheet and a win is exactly what the doctor ordered. Results on the night probably didn't go for them, but they can just look after their own results and they'll be very happy. John Russell must be disappointed with Sligo. It's a long journey from Sligo to Cork, as I well know from the years, and perhaps for a few of them they hadn't made this trip before. It seemed like they were out on their feet or didn't come with the required intensity, and maybe missing Max Mata, but they didn't offer much until the final 5 minutes when Cork City had their usual, at this point, wobbly moments. But Corcoran in goal, to be fair to him, his hands were very good, but with a few low drives that went in and a high kind of dangerous cross towards the end he caught hold of, and in fairness to him, after perhaps taking some flack over the last few weeks, he was very good as well. So overall, Cork City were very good on the night and deserved it, I think, ultimately. And Sligo Rovers would probably be concerned that they didn't really show up to this one. 1-0 to Cork City and a happy Turner's Cross.
This is the ExtraTime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast, and that was Neil Horgan, who was watching Cork City's 1-0 win at home to Sligo Rovers. A huge win for City because they'd lost, I think it was 6 in a row going into that game. Right, before we go, let's remind you of what the table looks like. Derry City on top on 34 points. Shamrock Rovers second on 33 points. Bohemians third on 29 points. Dundalk fourth on 26 points. St. Pat's fifth on 26 points. Those two meet each other in Richmond Park next Friday night. We'll have that live on LOI TV. Well, all of the games will be live on LOI TV, but I'm doing that one, which is why I'm focusing on it. Shelbourne are 6th on 24 points. Sligo Rovers 7th on 19 points. Drogheda 8th on 17 points. Cork City still second from bottom, but now on 12 points. UCD 6 points behind on 6 points. So that's how the table looks there. The First Division table. Galway United 10 points clear of Waterford FC, who got some potentially bad news yesterday regards their owner. It's quite a sensitive legal situation, and I don't know what ramifications it has for the club. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then by all means Google it. It's far too delicate a situation for me to comment on without doing the kind of requisite study and research. Waterford are second in the First Division at the moment. Bray are third on 23 points. That's 9 behind Waterford. Cove Ramblers fourth on 22. Athlone 5th on 20 points. Treacy United 6th on 19. Longford 7th on 17 points. Wexford 8th on 15 points. Finn Harps second from bottom on 14 points. And Kerry bottom on 10 points. There are fixtures today as you listen in the SSE Electricity Women's Premier Division. Peamount meet Galway at 5. Also at 5, Treaty take on Wexford Youths. At 5 o'clock again, Sligo Rovers up against Shelbourne. At 5:30, Shamrock Rovers host DLR Waves. And at 7:35, Bohemians are up against Athlone Town. Let's have a look at the table. Peamount United on top, 1 point clear of Shamrock Rovers. Third belongs to Shelbourne at the moment. They're on 19 points. Galway 4th on 19 points. Bohemians 5th on 18 points. Athlone 6th on 13 points. Wexford 7th on 12 points. DLR Waves 8th on 8 points. Treaty United 9th on 5 points. And Sligo Rovers 10th on 3 points. Cork City are in bottom position on 1 point. That's it for myself, Oisin Langan. We'd love to hear from you, by the way. You can get us via Twitter at Extra Time News, or you can get me on at Oisin Langan. You can read all the match reports from last night's matches on extratime.com, and also there'll be previews of today's Women's League matches and match reports afterwards. Luke Jordan will be back during the week with a deep dive into everything that's happening in the League of Ireland world with the extratime.com League of Ireland podcast. That's it from me. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll catch you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.